The mystery of the worship of Yahweh before Israel. The worship of Yahweh, long assumed by many to be exclusive to the Israelites, is an ancient enigma that has intrigued scholars, theologians, and historians for centuries. The core mystery lies in the surprising evidence, textual, linguistic, and archaeological, that suggests Yahweh was known and worshipped in regions and among peoples that predate or are external to the formal establishment of Israel as a nation. To solve this mystery, we must sift through the sands of ancient Near Eastern history, the records of Semitic cultures, and the earliest biblical traditions.
Yahweh outside of Israel. The Hebrew Bible introduces Yahweh as the national deity of Israel, revealed to Moses in the burning bush, Exodus 3 verse 14, where God declares his name as Ahia Asher Ahia, I am who I am. Yet, clues within the biblical text itself suggest an earlier origin. Deuteronomy 33 verse 2, a poetic passage often overlooked, reads, Yahweh came from Sinai, and dawned from Seir upon us, he shone forth from Mount Paran. These locations, Sinai, Seir, and Paran, are all situated in or near Edom and Midian, to the south of Israel's eventual homeland. This verse places the origin of Yahweh worship not in Canaan, but in the deserts of the south.
The Kenite-Midianite hypothesis. One of the most compelling scholarly theories is the Kenite-Midianite hypothesis. According to this view, the worship of Yahweh was introduced to the Israelites by the Midianites or Kenites, tribes living in the deserts of northwest Arabia and the Sinai. This theory gains support from the biblical narrative in Exodus, where Moses flees Egypt and finds refuge in Midian, marrying Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, also called Royal, a priest of Midian. Intriguingly, Jethro blesses Yahweh in Exodus 18, suggesting he already worshipped Yahweh before Moses received the divine name. This encounter implies that Yahweh was already known and worshipped among the Midianites, independent of Israelite tradition. Scholars propose that Moses learned about Yahweh through his Midianite in-laws and later introduced this deity to the Israelites during the Exodus. Archaeological and epigraphic evidence. Further support for the early worship of Yahweh comes from archaeology and epigraphy. Inscriptions found in the Egyptian temple at Soleb, dating to the 14th century BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, refer to a people called Shasu of Yhw, where Yhw is widely believed to be an early reference to Yahweh. The Shasu were nomadic Semitic tribes roaming the deserts of Edom and Midian, lending credence to the idea that Yahweh was originally a tribal deity worshipped in this region. Additionally, an inscription at Kuntillet Ajrud, dated to the 8th century BCE, refers to Yahweh of Teman and Yahweh of Samaria, suggesting regional variations of Yahweh worship. Teman is associated with Edom, again pointing to a southern origin.
Yahweh and the Canaanite Pantheon. To understand Yahweh's emergence, we must consider the broader religious landscape. Canaanite religion featured a pantheon led by El, a creator god whose name and characteristics are sometimes conflated with Yahweh in early Israelite texts. In early stages, Yahweh may have been perceived as one among many gods, a storm or warrior deity, akin to Baal, before eventually being exalted above all as Israel's sole deity. The early biblical texts reflect this evolution. For instance, Psalm 82 portrays a divine council, where El presides among the gods. Over time, Yahweh assumes this role, replacing El and subsuming his identity. This theological shift was part of the gradual move from henotheism, a worship of one God without denying others, to monotheism. The transition to exclusive worship. The exclusive worship of Yahweh became a defining feature of Israelite religion, especially after the Babylonian exile, 6th century BCE. Prophets, such as Isaiah and Jeremiah, emphasized monotheism and denounced idolatry, cementing Yahweh's place as the one true God. But even in these later writings, vestiges of older traditions remain, echoes of Yahweh's earlier, more localized worship. The name Yahweh itself, Derived from the Hebrew root hwh, to be, signifies existence and presence, I am. This theological depth may have contributed to Yahweh's eventual rise to supremacy over other gods, as Israelite religion developed a more abstract, transcendent conception of the divine.
In the summary, a God from the south. The mystery of the worship of Yahweh before Israel, though once obscured by time and tradition, becomes clearer through the lens of history and comparative religion. Yahweh, it seems, was originally a southern deity, worshipped by desert tribes such as the Kenites and Midianites. His cult was likely adopted and transformed by Moses, whose experience in Midian may have shaped Israel's theological foundations. Over centuries, this once regional god became the universal deity of monotheism. In solving this mystery, we gain a deeper appreciation of the dynamic and evolving nature of ancient faiths, how gods move across landscapes and cultures, how identities merge, and how a once local deity became the singular god of a people, and ultimately, one of the foundational figures of global religion.